So it's the ninth race of an 11-race season, and we are in contention for a fifth place team finish, with fourth not being unreasonable. Vanessa's been talking the big talk ahead of this one, saying that she thinks a podium is possible. I don't. But we do get a slightly happier payday if we manage to finish in seventh or better. And that would be really, really helpful, since we have effectively run the bank account dry. Let's have a quick look at the forecast here. It looks like it's going to stay dry and cool, which is good for tyres for the practice session. No, Hazel, not Hazel, Bjorn. Bjorn does our, because Bjorn pays us some money here. Right, let's monkey with the old setup and see what we've got. So Bjelland's car. Now, if we want top speed, then lower downforce is the way to accomplish that. It is a speedy track, which means that getting up to speed and then slowing back down again are the two disciplines that we really need to master. So we lengthen the speed balance some. As far as corners are concerned, couldn't really tell you. Mechanic's not really giving me much of a read, other than it wants a little bit more oversteer than understeer. So we'll chance that as our first go. Now, tyres. We're not going to try anything clever as far as number of laps out there. 9 to 11 on softs, 13 to 15 on mediums. I am tempted to put mediums on, you know. They will hang in there for ages, even though we lose a bit of speed off that. Although speed is going to be absolutely critical on this track. Now, see, look, that's 3 1/3 stars versus 2.5. No, we're going to go super fast, even if that means an extra pit stop. Because the goal here today is to be as competitive as we possibly can. Right, Vanessa's car, we're going to do something similar with this. Let's drop the downforce even more radically for Vanessa. There we go. And then what should we do with the gear ratios? We're going to make the gear ratios quite long. There we are. Suspension stiffness, loosen that right up so she can just breeze it through the corners. Now, this, to me, says that I think I've got too little downforce, but we'll see what happens after the first rock and roll. We can monkey with the old tyre camber here, which is something that traditionally I don't do. Yeah, we can put too much air in the tyres, which again is something that on a typical weekend I'll just leave the hell alone. Anyway, we'll just leave that the hell alone. Soft tyres it is. We're all good here. Everything's fine. Let's get it out onto the practice session. Off you go, Vanessa. Do good work. Right, let's strategy up for action, and then we're Bjorn. Get out. Pay me, you person who pays me style racing driver. Right, okay, so Vanessa's out and she's rolling. We'll keep this slightly close in angle. Can't get much closer, unfortunately, otherwise we would do. 00, the third driver out of the pits, and he's gone on medium tyres. He's planning to stop once, evidently. And often Mr. 00 does not put a foot wrong on this stuff. Who else has gone for the single stop approach? It looks like Thomas and 00, Price, Moto, Mendes, Kitasato, Fodder, Wolfrath and Plastic have all gone for a one-stopper. Okay. Can we get a more acceleration focus setup? Okay, we can certainly do that. Come on in. Yeah, okay, so my gear ratios are a little on the high side. That's okay. That's all part and parcel of why we practice. What's this button do? Oh, that's fun. Okay, we might switch to this once in a while. It's a button I just hadn't pressed. Not getting enough response out of the corners, says Bjorn Belland. Bjelland. Okay, as much as that's quite entertaining. Yeah, all right. We can alternate the views there. I'll you know, when I'm not mucking around with other items that we've got. Right, okay, well, that's downforce is very poor. Ha. Okay, well, I went quite low on the downforce. The mechanic is saying low downforce. The handling is also poor. Interesting. Okay, right. Well, let's increase the downforce back to 15, which is where we started out, and see if that improves Vanessa's mood even slightly. Now, given that my suspension stiffness is pretty weak, let's try that a little harder and see where that gets us. And then the speed balance is she'll be happier with a bit more acceleration. So maybe like 56, something like that, since we're in an okay at the moment. Let's see what we get out of that. We're going to keep the same set of tyres on because I've got plenty of life left in them. And all we want to do is just learn where the car is weak. Right, Bjorn's finished his lap, and it was then immediately beaten by 00, who is using slower tyres. The good news is that Moto, Fodder, Mendez, Liao, they're all also slower, but Finger Puppet has come in and taken the fastest off of Bjorn, who won't feel cheated by this, of course, because, you know, Bjorn doesn't really care. He just likes to drive around a racing track once in a while, and he pays me for the privilege. So that's good. Let's increase the tempo here. So Thomas just set the fastest lap. Okay. Right, in we come. Let's see what we've got here. So, remember that Bielen's downforce at 13.4, we had Silvera was on 13. Now, he doesn't like this either. So, I think let's try him on 14.8. Now, the two drivers will prefer slightly different setup. But when it comes down to it, you know, the likelihood is that it's going to be pretty similar no matter what. Top speed, the speed balance is also incorrect, so we'll drop that down as well. So more of a tweak than anything else to Bjorn's setup. How are you doing on tyres? Still 2/3 to go. That's good enough for you to get out and have another spin. So I'll tell you what, why don't you get out there and have another spin? Vanessa has dropped to 20th place, but I'm not too fussed about that given that she hasn't completed a lap yet. But as is the way, she'll do that this time round, and she's much happier with the aerodynamics the way they're set now, which is good. Who's this behind her on the track? I've no idea who it is behind her on the track, but there it is. Bielen meanwhile has dropped to 9th. Could be better, but that was first time out. Silvera there, 4th fastest. Okay, all right. That's close. Come on in there, Vanessa, and we'll see if we can't make it a little bit quicker. I don't think we can. I think we're probably more or less maxed out on what the car's capable of. She prefers everything, which is nice, but we've still got some way to go to perfect this. Right, let's get her ready to go out. Now, downforce is now good. Yeah. Okay, handling good. Speed balance spot on. Well, that's something. Now, do we go up or do we go down? Now, if we look at this one, you'll see that the difference is measured. Very poor. We've got it to good. I wonder if we've overshot. And then handling, we've gone from poor to good. I think we've definitely overshot on that one. Speed balance, however, we've nailed. So what we will do is we will drop the wing to 0.6 there, which is subtle. That'll be maybe great, maybe excellent if I've gone the right way. If it's not, then a little bit further towards a high wing will help. The handling wants a bit more oversteer, I reckon. That might be it, you know. That might be too far. Let's try it. And then the speed balance, we leave that the hell alone. Right, stint's good. Tyre choice, yeah, that'll do. Let's not burn through any more tyres than we absolutely have to. Let's bring Bjorn in. Who, as a result of his tweaks, has improved his time, but is still only 9th overall. And remember that that getting beaten by tyres who are on the medium compound there isn't going to be good. And that's 00 setting the second fastest lap. But it's the usual suspects up front. Finger Puppet there, fastest driver there is. And Sarah Thomas in 3rd. You know, these are names that we come across on a very regular basis. Right, let's set Vanessa to give the car a bit of a rinsing. As we have a look at Bjorn's car. Okay, so he's relatively happy with the downforce. Interesting. Reasonably happy with the handling. Okay, let's have a look here. So previously, poor has moved into good. I think less is going to be better. Let's try 14.5. No, let's try 15.2. Let's try 15.4. Okay, subtle but still groovy. That's actually pushed us the right direction as far as oversteer is concerned. We do want to head into oversteer, and then, or do we? Honestly, I couldn't tell you. Speed balance was great. Let's tweak it that way. See what we've got. Tyre choice. We'll give you some fresh rubber there, Bjorn. There's no harm in that. And we'll see what we get. As Vanessa starts her new flyer, we'll see what we can get out of it. And she likes the handling even more than she did before. That's a very good sign. In fact, why are we following along with Mr. Bjelland when we could be watching Silvera potentially doing a spot of overtaking just for laughs? None of this really matters. It's only practice. And practice is a very poor indicator of how you're going to perform in the race. But obviously you try and do as well as you can. Because, you know, why wouldn't you? Right, Vanessa's tyres have now dropped off a little bit. So she's not going to set a blistering pace here. She's more likely to have blistering tyres. But at least this has given her enough of a run out as she unlocks race trim level 2. Handling feels superb. Aero's feeling better according to Bjorn. Okay, well, we've done a halfway decent job in that way that we standard do a halfway decent job. A better way to say that would be, as standard, we do a halfway decent job. Okay, 5th place for Silvera, unless anybody else comes in late. Ruto Wolfrath maybe could do it. Moto is obviously a threat, but sticking with those harder compound tyres, it's going to be interesting. Do we try and nurse the tyres for as long as possible, or do we accept that we're going to be stopping twice? We accept that we're going to be stopping twice. So there we go. That's everything you needed to know, everything you knew already. 5th and 8th in practice. That's okay. It's okay. We'll live with that. Right, so on the socials, Christina, Malcolm, Garuda Get Racing, you guys rock. Any chance of a follow back? That's cheeky. Merit Labroca, Puppet is gonna rock it this weekend, putting some bets on after that practice sesh lol. Good. To be honest, and you see, you know, this is just pretending to write like an illiterate internet person. They wouldn't have used a full stop. Scott Price, the driver, shocking practice session for me today. Sorry to any fans who had to watch that. Yeah, I should think so too. You know, you should go and have a long, hard think about yourself in your caravan. So it is raining in Milan to start the race, and that's going to put the pigeon and the cats in close proximity to one another to get things started. Let's have a look. The rain is going to continue. It's not just going to start rainy. It's going to get wet. So the question here is whether you try and do good work on intermediates to start with, or whether you decide that that wet weather tyres is the way to go, given that by lap 5 it's exactly what you're going to need. Means you'll lose a bit of pace to start with, but you'll be far better off by the time lap 5 rolls around. My goodness me, what a dilemma. Right, let's have a think about exactly what we're going to do to get this rolling. So, 10% performance increase, yeah. let's take the race trim performance increase and nurse for Nicholas, and then for Vanessa, we'll take race trim, and then we'll do faster pit stops. There we go. Pretty much the standard manoeuvre on that side of things. Car setup, let's see how we're looking. Vanessa has got good downforce, great handling, great speed balance. Whereas Nicholas has got great downforce, but only mediocre on the handling. So I'm actually going to change his setup here. We will make him a little bit more understeery, and hope that has a positive impact on how he gets on in the race. By adjusting the wing, we may be able to dial that even further in the right direction. Yeah, we don't want to mess with it too much. Right, tyre choice. Intermediates. Water on track anywhere up to kind of moderate, and we're expecting very high indeed. Right? Interesting. Yeah. Now, here's the dilemma as I see it, right? We start out on intermediates, means we start okay, gradually tail off, and then from lap 5, it's going to be wet, where wet weather tyres would most certainly be advisable. So you could plan to come in on lap 5, maybe lap 4, to switch out for wet tyres, by which time we'll have an indication of whether this rain is going to continue or not. Now, it is getting colder at the same time, which indicates a slight shift in weather patternage, but you don't know if it's going to keep raining or not. All right, Nicholas, you're going to go with intermediates, right? But we will plan to come in on lap 4. So I'm going to give you 6 laps worth of fuel. Oh, boy. Okay, well, this is, that's... you ride her till she bucks you, or you don't ride at all, as I was always told by my bull riding instructor. Obviously, bulls are not female, so read into that whatever you will. Right, we'll do something similar with Vanessa, and we'll give her the same amount. This has got just bad idea written all over it. So we're either going to come in for wets, or we're going to come in for intermediates, or we're going to come in for something else. I'm going to leave her out there a little bit longer and see if she can hang on the intermediate tyre for a little bit longer. Because if it does dry out, then she'll be in a position to come in and get onto dry tyres just as these existing ones are fading. In fact, I'm going to give her a full tank. That's going to make her slower. But I don't know. It feels like an interesting move to be making. Right, okay, let's do some part stripping here, given that that's something that we always like to do. We can take some reliability out of the suspension. You've forgotten how to do part stripping, you Burke. There we go. We can take that down to about... We could even go high 50s. Let's not go too risky. We'll go 62 with that one. And then... on the gearbox, we'll do something similar. Given that Nicholas Hazel knows how to make his car last all afternoon, it's not the worst idea ever. We will keep the brakes pretty high, but we can get it down to 90% certainly. And that should, in fact, it's Hazel. We can get it down to 80% and it'll still be fine. We'll do the same with the engine. Fingers crossed, team. Right. This we will drop to 76, 81, 76. Same on the gearbox, 75. And then when it comes to the brakes, we'll drop that to 90. That's what we call very conservative when it comes to weight stripping. So Hazel has gained 240 points. Vanessa's gained 195. I mean, that's no small amount of improvement on the performance of those cars overall. We're just going to have to see how it pans out. So here's the grid, and it's Longo plastic on the front since they're holding everybody up. And they've gone for intermediates. Steve Mush, however, has gone for wet weather tyres. Let's start the scroll with Chris Shaw alongside him. On the third row, it's Lau and Wolfrath, both on intermediates. On fourth, we have Wu Yao and Kitasato, both on intermediates. Then Sarah Thomas and Nicholas Hazel. No surprises going on there. Trolley fodder's gone for wet weather, obviously hanging on to more fuel. Vanessa, I think I've made a bum steer as far as her tyre choice is concerned, as Playmoto has gone with wets, as has P. Ruto, alongside Kotso Masalella. Megahertz is intermediate, as is Finger Puppet, as is Scott Price and Hans 00. Now, the interesting thing from 00, and I know I comment on him a lot, is that he's gone for intermediate, so he's planning to pit, I imagine, early, which kind of foils the strategy that they'd gone for in applying medium tyres as his go-to choice. We'll see if that pays off or not. Either way, it's going to be an interesting race. Let's get to the grid. We're going to watch Silvera, because Hazel terribly starts race. Oh no, Hazel's off to an absolute flyer. And in fact, we're switching. So Hazel may be getting it done. He's got his foot down. That is for certain. Longo has run wide. Well, we're not too fussed about that. But obviously, all drivers are giving it the beans to get the race underway as Hazel moves up to 8th, up to 6th, 5th. Hazel is really on a charge right now. He took that corner like an absolute pro, which you would hope he would do, given that he is a pro. Silvera also getting it done, as the wet tyre drivers are dropping down the field quite rapidly, but we'd expect to see them come into their own later on as the track increases its moisture level. We're going to ease off on the engine of Silvera. 8th is perfectly fine. In fact, she's moving up now. We'll ease off with Hazel a touch, because he hasn't got a lot of fuel. We are going to try and bring him in quite quickly. So let's up the tempo on Silvera, and I don't want to tell Hazel to ease off, because when he does so, he'll let all kinds of people through. Hopefully Silvera can do it on herself. Here we go. Come on, Vanessa. There you go. That's it. Right, Silvera goes through. Excellent work right there. Wu Yao sets the fastest lap, but that's going to change over time, I would imagine. We're now on the 3rd lap of the race. Let's have a look at the forecast, and it is going to continue to rain. So coming in early to get wet weather tyres on looks like a good plan right now. Hazel's got 3 laps of fuel left on the car. We'll go and follow on with Vanessa, who is still hard charging, although the tyres are starting to heat up. We will only put her on push, and we'll ease off on the engine at the same time. But she's made a promising opening couple of laps there. Fuel level seems a bit low. Should you back off? No, because you're going to come in and you're going to get wet tyres. It's all fine. This is all part of the plan. Vanessa, we can probably go with greater fuel burn as Finger Puppet overtakes Nicholas Hazel. But it's all going to start switching around relatively quickly, because the track is now becoming properly wet. The question is just how rainy is it going to stay? There it is. Look, there it stops raining. So wet weather tyres are really only going to be beneficial for a very short period of time. Arguably now is the... no, you can't. Now is the time to be on wet weather tyres. It's never going to get much better than this. Silvera there is still... she's still competitive. And she will be for quite a while. Hazel, do I bring him in for wets or do I bring him in for intermediates? He is now losing it in a big way. He's dropping down the field. Let's bring him in immediately. We're going to put him out on wets, and then we'll put him back out on intermediates a little while later. So we're not going to give him a massive amount of fuel. We'll fill him up and then drop it back down, you see. We'll do something like that. This is a lot of pit stops for Nicholas Hazel. And I'm not sure that that's the best thing we could be doing. So he's going to come in when the track is at its wettest. So he'll have 4 laps where that really pays off, and then those wet weather tyres are going to be absolutely wretchedly useless. Interesting. This is properly good stuff. I love it. Indecision, it makes it jolly exciting. The parts all look fine. Pit strategy, 64% chance of a mistake. Well, that's not actually that much more than balanced, is it? So we might as well. We'll see what we do. But he's well off the pace now. As Vanessa is in a battle for fourth, which is great news. Her tyres look pretty solid. In fact, we're going to drop her down a little bit, see if she can't eke out the life of the car. And it's fuel that's going to be the problem rather than the tyres itself, because maybe she comes in at the right time to switch to a dry weather tyre, and that will then propel her forward at a heck of a rate. As Hazel's fuel is very, very, very low, and he comes in at exactly the right time. This is a massive gamble, and it's also probably a massive mistake. But we're going to get him out there, assuming that we don't have too many mistakes in the pit stop. 0 mistakes, good pit stop. Right, yep, okay, good, grand. And he's back out in the race. And telling her to floor it. There is no, we're not going to preserve anything here as far as fuel, or as far as tyre condition, or anything along those lines. It's probably hella slippy now, as far as these intermediate tyre users are concerned, but we're coming off the cusp now. So if I can get 2-3 laps more out of Vanessa, we could bring her in, potentially put her on dry tyres, and get something out of this. It's not going to be, it's going to be close is what it's going to be. Let's ease off on the engine some, but feel free to give the tyres everything you've got. I got no problem with that. Hazel there now has picked up a place, so Hazel is closing in, but it's not going to work. It's he's too far back to capitalise. But what you can see here is that the wet weather crew are gradually moving up in terms of position. This is good stuff here. Water on track. So we're going to have to bring her in at the on the next lap. We're going to have to bring her in, and then probably ease off on the fuel a little as well. And I think, let's have a look. The mid-term forecast is for dry. It's very, very hard to tell, and this pack of cars is so close together. It's very hard. Oh, she's murdering her tyres. Ease off on the tyres. Ease off on the tyres. Ease off on the tyres. Hopefully they cool down a little bit, given that it's wet. Now 1.3 laps of fuel remaining. If we ease it off now, I don't know. Well, there we go. We've committed. So pit this lap, please, Vanessa, and then we will go back out. Oh, do we? Yeah, we'll go back out on dry tyres. Do we go for soft? Yeah. I mean, let's not mess around. We go out good, or we don't go out at all. Fill her up as far as the fuel's concerned. How are the parts looking? All good. Pit strategy. Chance it. My goodness me. This is dramatically exciting as the rain eases off. Meanwhile, Hazel is absolutely cooking everything he's got to try and get the most out of his limited stint. Vanessa's on low fuel. She should make it. She should make it. I'm going to drop her to low when we get to 0.2 left in the fuel tank. As she defends third. She's coming in at exactly the right time for this switch to work. Oh, it's very nervy stuff, but she's got exactly the right amount of fuel there. Oh, absolutely masterful is what that is. We're going for speedy tyres. The track is still a little bit damp, so she's not going to get a lot out of that to start with, but it is going to save her an additional pit stop, as everybody's now coming out on dry tyres. The wet crew are in all kinds of trouble. The track is drying out very quickly. There we go. Right. Vanessa back on it, and she's in 5th. This is very promising, with Longo and 00 still yet to come in, although 00 has nursed those tyres very well. And getting it done. Hazel, meanwhile, has to come in as soon as possible. He's low on fuel. We'll bring him in. We'll fill him up. Park condition is probably just dandy. And then fast pit stop again. Now, that gamble paid off last time, but will it pay off again? And he comes in. Yeah, Hazel's strategy not worked at all there. Silvera's has paid off quite nicely, as Hazel is now bottom of the grid. And we came out mistake-free again with Hazel, which is excellent work. Right, Vanessa is in it with Wu Yao. She's got just under a second ahead of Price, which I wouldn't expect to last. 00, the only driver who hasn't yet come in, and he's still on intermediates. Oh, so beg your pardon, Mush is out there as well, but he's already stopped once. So this will be 00's second stop, or he's going to lose places like there's no tomorrow. This is interesting. The championship leader, the track is almost completely dry. We're not looking at any more rain, certainly for the time being, as Vanessa sets her personal best for the first sector. She's not going to hold on to this position, though. Price is faster than her, despite the fact he's got slower tyres. Puppet at the same time also looks to be faster. In all honesty, don't know what we're going to do about that. We'll burn a bit more fuel for a little while, and see if we can't maintain the gap, or at least close in on Masilella. And 00 still hasn't pitted. That's remarkable stuff, but he's going to be losing pace now, and you can see it. I mean, you can see it with every passing second. Another 1/10 of a second is being shaved off 00's lead. This is just not good for the champion. And his tyre condition is also pretty lousy. I don't know what they're thinking, but surely he's got to pit this time around. Surely he has to come into the pits as we up the tempo on Hazel, and we'll drop Silvera back again. She's managed to narrow the gap, and 00 is in the pits. He's probably going to come out. Well, I don't know, 12th maybe. It's hard to say for sure. No, he continues to drop. He's out on medium tyres. He's not going to need to stop again. So that's 00 for the rest of the race. Is set up and good to go. As we close in on Masilella, who is not quite on the pace, but then Silvera isn't exactly burning it either, with both Price and Puppet in hot pursuit. And we are going to have to stop again with Vanessa. Hazel, through no fault of his own, that's entirely down to the strategy, is now languishing in 19th, 1 place ahead of Steve Mush. That was down to the strategy. It didn't pay off. Thought it might have a go, but given how dry the track was, or rather how quickly the track dried out, his wet weather tyres really did help hold him back. And it is going to mean that he will be on a 3-stopper, and that is never the sign of a successful race. 00 eventually finishes up in 16th, having just overtaken Trolley Fodder. He's going to move up because he's not far off. He's going to carve through Ruto and Lau pretty quickly, and will make a charge towards the stop, particularly for the soft compound tyres, the super slicks that Thomas, Wu Yao, Masilella and Vanessa are using. He's going to have no problem getting past them at all. Tyres are at 34%. We're going to need to come in the next lap, maybe 2. In fact, we'll be very lucky to last 2 laps with that tyre capability. Hazel's still hanging in there, but he's not closing anything down, and he's going to have to stop again as well. It's a disaster for Nicholas Hazel, despite having just set his best lap time. It's not going to be enough. He's not going to be a factor this weekend. We're going to pit Vanessa because her tyres have had it, and this will be her last run out. So 7 laps remaining after the pit stop. We'll go for full fuel. Park condition, lovely. Pit strategy, rapido. Yeah, this isn't going to end well. The only thing we can hope works here is that when the other soft tyres come in, that Vanessa can crawl her way back up to 7th, which is going to be pretty essential. 00 there now in 9th. As all the soft compound tyre people come in at the same time. Vanessa down in 16th. Oh my giddy aunt. That's just not good at all. But the tyres on the medium folk don't exactly look like they're going to last forever either. 00 will be fine. He's going to win a race. I would be staggered at this point if 00 did not win it all. But for everybody else, there's no good news here. There you go. Go for overtake. Let's burn off some fuel here. The engine looks pretty good, right? Ish. Let's maybe not be quite so aggressive. But Silvera's got to do something now in order to make this work, as Sarah Thomas is in the pits having some repairs done while she gets those tyres replaced, which propels Silvera up to 15th. But it's the medium compound tyres. We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 drivers coming in, which would be absolutely ideal. And what do you know? Hazel is now up to 16th, but it's not going to help him. He's got to come in for another pit stop. He's going to have to do that. And here it is. Wu Yao has got difficulties. Finger Puppet's got difficulties. The pit stop happens now. Now Silvera's 30 seconds off the front pace. I don't think she's going to be out there in time to capitalise. We'll just have to see how it goes, and we're going to need to turn our attention to Nick Hazel pretty swiftly, because he needs to come in. In fact, there's no time like the present. Let's do it. Fuel options. 4 laps remaining after the pits. We'll fill him up. We'll give him 6. Park condition. Whatever. Pit strategy. Let's do it. Can he make it 3 in a row? He's got 1 lap left to do on his current setup, and he almost drives straight into the back of Kitasato, who for some reason had decided to pretty much stop in the middle of the track. Hazel, if he'd had his wits about him, would have done something useful there. And Vanessa's in 9th. This doesn't look too bad for Vanessa, because Longo, surely, Fodder and Ruto still have to come in. As Hertz comes in, that's not a bad sign. He's going to exit the pits pretty much alongside Silvera when she makes it round. We'll see here what's going to happen as 00 takes the lead, pretty much as expected. Once again, absolutely wizard strategy there from the championship leader. We'll just have to see how it goes as Hazel comes in. Hazel is not going to finish well in this race, and that's my fault. There's nothing wrong. Mistake on refueling. Long Johns, there's a name that we've heard regularly making a mess of things, as Silvera looks pretty good, closing down Longo, whose tyres are past their best. This is solidly good stuff. We don't need to do anything clever. He's got to come in anyway, so the overtake is going to happen when he enters the pits. It would be good to get ahead of him before then, because obviously he's not on the pace. But there it is, Silvera up to 6th. And she's got a 5-second cushion over Shaw, and that still keeps her in the top 7, which is where we want to be. Top 7 is going to be pretty essential. Play Moto just setting the fastest lap there from 14th place. Too little, too late, Mr. Moto. As Hazel is down in last place, 13 seconds adrift. Mush is probably going to come in, or maybe try nursing those tyres. Well, it doesn't really matter at this stage, does it? With only 2 laps left to go, I think he'll probably chance staying out. Wolfrath, Masalella, they both look solid. In fact, this looks like, unless there's something very unexpected, this looks like where we're going to finish up. The engine feels slightly down on power. That is not a good sign. So what we're looking for is a narrowing of the gap here. Now, Shaw is actually catching up on the lead. 00's tyres are fading pretty quickly. There's only a lap and a bit to go. But there we go. You can see it now. Vanessa is dropping off. Most definitely dropping off the pace is Vanessa Silvera. We'll ease off on the engine to see if that helps keep it at least somewhat stable. But despite the fact that 00's tyres have gone, Masilella is unable to close in, but there it is. There it is now. He is closing in very, very quickly. To the extent that I might not even watch what I'm doing. We're going to skip forward and see if the South African driver, who is having mechanical difficulties, can accomplish anything. I mean, if he can crash, that would be lovely, because obviously Firebird MRT are our main rivals right now. But we'll just have to we'll have to see how we get on. And it'd be typical while I'm watching a different driver that my own driver's into some kind of difficulty. But 00's done it. He's over the line. We'll switch back to Vanessa, who looks to be okay. She's got 2 and a bit seconds over Shaw. And there she goes. Sixth place. Very nice. Not bad at all. Could have done it a little bit better. Swan's Plastic has just run out of fuel. This could be very good for Nick Hazel. But he hasn't got long. I think she might make it over the line. She might. There she goes. Just made it over the line. Hazel is going to finish in 19th. And he's not going to be thrilled about that. But that came down to... It was a chancy idea. The setup that we'd gone for there. But when it came down to it, the track just did not stay wet for long enough to make that count. Knew it a second we'd made the change, but what are you going to do? I mean, you know, once you've committed, you've committed. So Vanessa actually following the exact same path as Masilella and Wolfrath, a pretty common selection, that one. The drivers who went in a little bit later didn't necessarily capitalise, but it was 00 with that quick change on the 6th lap to set his second change up on the 14th, gave him the clear space to get it done. But Hazel, as you can see, just the wrong move. Totally wrong move there. Could have made it work, didn't. But 3 stops compared to everybody else's 2. He was never going to make that work. So in scrutineering, the only thing that could happen now is that we lose a place because we get done. But no, they've still not caught us. We're getting away with it, allegedly. So there's everything we already knew. Vanessa in 6th, with Hazel down in 19th. Just not great, frankly. He gets 2 points for that, but, you know, that barely counts for anything at all. So in terms of the championship, that's Vanessa now up to 8th, tied with Playmoto, but the better result on the track there, giving her the advantage. Seen Mendez potentially in line to be overtaken if Vanessa can keep up the pace. Hazel, terrible weekend. Poor guy. I can't blame him for that one. And that establishes us now in 6th. We own it. Octane managing to get a point over us this time around to hold down 5th is that's a bit of a shame. So Matilda Sauna is saying maybe Steve Mush should consider delivering pizza as a career move. #slow. Oh, feel the burn. Meanwhile, Alejandro Saric. Yes, I love you, Hans 00. All right, dude. Too much information there. UKSN, Victor Keller reporting, Hans 00 was silky smooth today. Very strong showing from Nicholas Wolfrath for Zampelli Engineering as well. And Graham Larkin, just watched Milan. Impressive stuff from Hans 00, like a scalded whippet. Ain't that the truth? Yes. So there we are, confirming the final positions there, and frankly, you know, it could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse. Hazel's fitness is looking like he might get a bump up there. Also, his overtaking is making progress, and his consistency and smoothness. All of these are very, very good things, even though he didn't have a great drive. Overtaking for Vanessa is improving, as is braking. That's solid as well. But that wraps it up for today. We've got just 2 races left to go in this season, and the money side of things is going to be challenging to get us through to that point. I do hope you join me for the next race that we have going on. Subscribe to make sure that you don't miss out on it, and throw a like at this one if you enjoyed the action. I've been Colonel Failure. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch up with you soon. Cheerio.